So Erro has decided to lay down again on the trail, and he's done this a couple of times. And what I can tell, just on this little trail ride, this is the only time he's ever done it when I've been riding him, is that his mind just gets in reactive mode, and he freezes. And what's causing this freeze is he usually loses sight up and over the hill of his buddy Marky. It's another horse. I think it comes into the video a little bit. He comes into the video a little bit later. And so he gets a little bit of anxiety, and then to deal with that anxiety, he wants to trot. Well, he's got a former broken coffin bone, and so the vet's orders are that he can only walk, so you can't let him trot and catch up. So then when you ask him to slow down, then he gets really frustrated, and the anxiety goes a little bit further, and then he just stops. And if you just gently, softly, quietly ask him to go, it's like it just is the straw that breaks the camel's back and creates a tremendous amount of anxiety, and he quickly walks backwards about 8 steps and then just flops on the ground. So here is what I'm doing is if you watch those feet, so he's got not that great of boundaries, so these little tiny steps that he's moving forward without me asking for them to come forward would be considered like a boundary breach. And so I want to create a boundary at the end of my lead line or wherever I set that, and then he just waits to be invited back into that bubble or that space. And you'll see here that every little tiny movement, if that any hoof comes forward, an inch, then I'm going to ask it to step back. So I'm just using the lead rope to kind of chat with him and ask him to move back. You probably also hear me kissing. When I cluck, that means come forward. When I kiss, it means go backwards. So if I'm doing it properly, I should be kissing and then asking with that lead rope. So the lead rope is not the main tool of communication, just neither is the bit or any of that. The main communication we want, ideally, is just the sound of my voice. So here I'm just telling him, like, I'm really meaning to get serious. See that back foot moved? So then I just correct it and move it back. So I should be kissing and then using the lead rope to move backwards. And I'm going to be firm in this boundary. So, I think this video is like a 5-minute video, and it's predominantly working on this right here. See that back foot moves. And so then if that foot comes forward, I'm going to say, hey, go backwards. I'm looking for about 3 steps. A step would be 1 foot goes backwards. So I want 3 feet to move in the backward direction. And you'll see I get firm, and then he quickly moves back. And he might take a few extra steps. That's fine. See that big breath? Those nostrils are flaring. There's some licking and chewing. So creating these little boundaries right here, it all translates into the saddle and helps him to feel secure. I think it's predominantly helping him to feel secure about who the herd boss is. I don't think that it's appropriate to be an alpha male. While that does exist out in the wild with the Mustangs, those guys live pretty rough and aggressive lives. The stallion alpha male, as well as the entire herd. And so, but that doesn't mean that just because we don't want to be this macho, dominant alpha male doesn't mean we don't need firm boundaries. So there I got pretty firm with that lead rope. And so here's the principle. as little as possible, but as much as necessary.